we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning, Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports. We're live, local, and ready to get things going. I want to thank you for getting in on the conversation this morning. We are having a few technical difficulties with Spectrum this morning, but we will do our best to bring you a great show, and hopefully they'll get things fixed, having to take a different route this morning. But glad that you've made us a part of your morning routine. So give us a call at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline, live, local, and ready to get things rolling this morning. You can also join us on chat. Let us hear from you. Chat us up. Let us know what's on your mind, what your thoughts are. If you have any thoughts, comments, or suggestions that you'd like to get to, we'll make that a part of the conversation. Today's program will be a carryover from yesterday, so I'll catch you up in just a moment on the topics, but we'll be adding you and DC Capstone Report to the conversation this morning. So let us hear from you once again. Chat us up and call us. You can also like, share, follow, and support us via live stream on the social media network, the online radio network, and we appreciate that support as we do things each and every day. Remember that this is the Martin Houston Show. Once again, the Sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. And remember that this is the day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice, be glad in it. Texting out today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, DC. How you doing, sir?
Oh, doing good, Martin. How are you this morning?
Doing well. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well.
Good.
Morning, X.
Glad to have everybody on. Just trying to get some going from yesterday, of course. DC, I promised them that we would even talk baseball today. Which is not a norm for us, but seeing some of the baseball things that's going on, and of course my oldest grandson is playing baseball, and so it kind of popped up back on my radar because on this past weekend we were watching some baseball, and in the middle of the game they were interviewing. You always see where they interview the coach and they show the highlights, but that's like in between the break, and then they show it while live action is going. The coaches actually aren't, over there. But this was interviewing the third baseman. The Padres were playing the Braves. They were actually interviewing the third baseman, like between pitches. And my daughter, who's an athletic trainer at graduated from University of West Alabama, she said, if I was a baseball purist, this would really, really upset me because it makes baseball look like a joke that a professional game could be going on, and right in the middle of the game, they could be doing a sidebar interview. But there's several other changes that's happening in baseball, and I just wonder what y'all's thoughts are, so we'll circle on that. Then, of course, Alabama had their scrimmage, and we can talk about some of the things that happened coming out of that, and how your thoughts and opinions on what's happening with that. And then, of course, Nate Oates and basketball has us intrigued. As we were going off the air, I asked the question, is Alabama basketball in danger of becoming Auburn football, meaning that we're going to have some ups and downs around the world, meaning good season, bad season, or average season, great season, because that's kind of been the we had a decent season, a good season for him in his first year, and then a great season, then a so season, and then a great season that ended in disappointment, and now he's starting over, DC. So it's going to be interesting to see that. So all of that is up for conversation. DC, before we get into that, do you have anything in particular that you'd like to get to today, or talk about?
Oh, those are all great topics. I got some information from people I know that were at the scrimmage, so I'd love to talk about that whenever we get to it. And, hey, I'm up for talking about basketball and baseball. I'm either way.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about the baseball. Do you watch baseball at all, DC? I don't know if we've ever even discussed baseball.
I don't watch baseball, pro baseball much. I watch the Braves. Been a Braves fan since I was a young boy. My family was Braves fans, so I listened to it on transistor radios way back in the day when the Braves never won anything. And so I kept watching them when they started to win. So I watched a little baseball. And then I follow Alabama baseball because a friend of mine, Matt Rada, is assistant coach with them. So I follow a little bit of SEC baseball and Alabama baseball.
Okay.
And my grandson plays on a baseball team, so I'm always going to watch my grandson play out at Kentucky Park. So I'm always seeing the young kids play.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I spend most of my baseball capital at the grandkids ball games. But I know last week Xavier gave a shout out, but my grandson, 8 years old, barely 8 years old, hit one over the fence. Pretty cool. You can go to Martin Houston fan page and you can see that home run. But talking about baseball, make several changes. First of all, they have a pitch count clock, DC, which I kind of like because it gets them going pretty quick. Baseball, I think, is if nobody's on, they have 15 seconds. If somebody's on base, they have 20 seconds. Just general thought process of that as a whole.
Well, yeah, I understand that a lot of people like that. I particularly don't care for the pitch clock because I'm more of a purist. I like them just let them keep playing. I think baseball's a game because they call America's game. It was invented, played here, and I think that changing the rules. And I think the only reason you change that rule it has to be for TV time. It's not for if you're going out to the ballpark and watching a baseball game, then you really love baseball, and you're going to stick there and watch it as long as they play. It has to be for TV rules. I really don't like anything that adapts to TV rules just because I don't think that's a game thing. But that's my opinion. A lot of people love it. Some people I talk to say they love the pitch count. They love that. They don't want people to, but I like the nuances of the game. I like the pitchers to try to intimidate. I like the batters to intimidate back by stepping out of the box. And I just like all that does to me is just gives the umpires another way to make a call. And I just don't like it. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I actually like it because I think that a pitcher being able to take as long as he wants. That's the problem. I don't care about it being for TV as much as even if I'm live and a guy can keep stepping out of the box or a guy can keep stepping off the mound. In no other sport does that happen, and maybe that's the uniqueness of it. But I don't think you should. One person should not be able to control the game in its entirety. Could you imagine if you didn't have a play clock in football?
In baseball, it's more of a one-on-one matchup than it is in football, and the reason I love it is if you watch the old days and you see it, you didn't have a problem with people stepping out of the box or pitchers taking too long. And the reason being is that everybody respected the game enough to know what they were doing. And when someone you did have that one that tried to control the game and step out of the box a lot. You had pitchers on the mound like Randy Johnson and Nolan Ryan that made sure that they didn't step out of the box again next time they got up there. and they respected each other at that point in time. And so I like that little gamesmanship of it simply because of the, I think I really think it was a change because people said the games were being too long on television, and I just don't like that idea. But yeah, I understand you like it, and a lot of people. I mean, I'm in the minority on this, I'm sure, but I love the gamesmanship. I love the ones that can throw the ball 100 miles an hour, getting real close to the batters who keep stepping out of the box. Some of them hitting the batters to step out of the box. I mean, I think it's a part of the baseball game that we're taking away with the clock.
And to me, it would be fine if they put a clock in there and you could step off all you want and then within that clock. But within a 15, 20-second clock, you don't have a whole lot of time to do that. And same thing with the batter.
Yeah.
But that's the reason I don't have a problem with it. Now I do have a problem with the shift. The fact that I can watch you and learn how you play the game, and then I can't shift my players to get you out. What I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Have two outfielders, two infielders on each side of second base, and they have to be in the infield. So you can't drop a guy back into the grass. Now, to me, that's coaching. That's watching film. That's studying the game. Being able to hold the ball for 5 minutes off and on, to me, that's not whether you're talented or not. That's not whether you can play the game. That's not whether you can coach or not. But that's just me. But the shift, I definitely have issues with. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I agree about the shift. I mean, the reason I'm saying that is I think that's another one-on-one ball player move. The shifting of the defense opens up a hole for the take advantage of by the offensive player if the offensive player can do it. And you're a professional baseball player, if you watch film and you know what they're going to do, and the defense can adjust to that, then I think the offensive player he has the opportunity to adjust to it and hit it in the right hit where they're not. I mean, that's what the whole point of baseball is. Baseball's point is not to hit it where they are; it's to hit it where they're not. So whether they shift or not should not change the game. So I don't have a problem. I have a problem with the shift move, allowing it, because I think it's a coaching move. It's a in this day and time where you watch film and know what the tendencies are and study those analytics, then you ought to be able to take advantage of those. I do agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was a huge baseball fan growing up, and that's kind of waned as I've gotten older. But I think that has to do with a lot of things when it comes to the way baseball is played. It becomes too long of games, not much excitement outside of watching a guy chase a record or a no hit, those type of opportunities. That's what makes it fun for me to watch now. But just like the day in and day out of the game has gotten boring to me, and I think they're trying to find ways to make it exciting again, especially for American youth, because you see a lot of us. We might start off playing baseball, but we tend to gravitate to end up in football or basketball at the end of the day, and that's why I think they're doing these rules now to try to get the younger generations excited again about the game.
Yeah. And of course, all of them kind of when you watch them all together, though, it's interesting. They all tend to kind of fold together. You can bring another outfielder in, so you could have 5 infielders, but you can't have less than 4. So it's interesting. But think about this. I don't know. How long will it be before the stolen base record is gone, DC? Because think about this. The bases are 18 inches wide, and when you add it up, somehow they figured it up. It's 4.5 inches closer. Doesn't seem like that big a deal, right? But how many times have you seen a guy get tagged out right as he's sliding in, like a hand away from the base? So that guy's now safe. And number 2, DC, is think about this. If I know that you have to pitch the ball in 20 seconds, you have to pitch the ball in 20 seconds, right?
Right.
Who gets it? Who sees? I haven't watched it enough to know if they have a shot clock. But if they have the shot pitch clock, or I track it, I can now get a jump because they limited step offs. They put a clock on when you have to pitch it, and the base is closer. So if I can get a better jump by timing it out, knowing you have to pitch the ball, and you can't make all of these step offs, and you can't make all of these moves toward me continuously, as they say, you've already shot your shot, meaning that you've either attempted to get me off or whatever within that 20 seconds. I know when that clock hits 0, you have to throw the ball. You have to pitch the ball. So I have a strange feeling that stolen bases, the records will go up. I also watching that little bit on Saturday or Sunday, whichever day it was, DC, there's more base hits now because the guys are not shifted all the way around and not as back as far on some of these plays. And they said because of that rule, things that used to be outs are now base hits. So more base runners, more stolen bases, etc. So it's going to be interesting. I think they're accomplishing what they want to accomplish, and I don't watch enough baseball for it to matter to me. But I'll let you give closing thoughts, and then we'll get on to a topic that more people want to hear about to listen to my show.
Well, I think it's making it exciting for the fans. It's making the game go faster. It's good for TV viewers. So I think all that's good. Just particularly my opinion is I like the old days where Randy Johnson's on the mound and somebody like John Kruk who loves to step out of the batter's box, even in the All-Stars game, steps out and in the next pitch he throws 102 miles an hour right over top of his head. And then he doesn't step out anymore, but he won't even get close to. He bails out on every other swing because he's afraid of that 102-mile-an-hour fastball. I like that kind of gamesmanship that they think they've taken out of the game with pitchers and batters.
He just have to do it in 20 seconds.
You hadn't seen that video, and you don't think that's exciting? You watch that All-Star game where John Kruk stepped out of the batter's box and Randy Johnson threw 102 mile an hour right over top of his head. He didn't step out again, but he swung the bat each time and missed the ball about a mile because he was too scared at that point.
Hey, that can still be part of the game. You just have to do it in the 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think baseball has a bunch of snobs in it anyway, but that's just Barton's opinion. But they were either going to be a dying breed amongst American sports, or they had to make some changes, and they did make it. It's about money, which almost every rule change that's happened in our modern era has been about more money and about more offense. People want to see points scored, and this is baseball's way of trying to do that.
Baseball at its purest, I think, is what we do when we go out to Kentucky and watch our grandkids play. They don't care about money. They don't care about the score. They just care about playing and love it. And that's what I love. And I did see your grandson's home run, and man, what an exciting thing to capture on video. But you'll remember that the rest of his life.
You see, this is the part you'll love.
That was the first game I ever got to go to, which was awesome with me living in Florida the last couple of years. And to see his first at bat in person, him to knock it over the fence, man, that was.
In DC, awesome this moment. Is the part you'll love. The night before, maybe he does care about money, because the night before I said, now the rule was if he hits 5 home runs, like just run the bases, he gets $20. And so he propped up, if I hit over the fence, I said, I'll give you $100. Well, he's not come close to hitting it over the fence. So I said, sure. And I'm out of town, so I don't get to see it live. I get a text that says, hey, Big Papa, I hit it over the fence. And then I told him, I said, I'll get you your money when I get back in town. You know what he did? He cashed out me. He's 8. So grandparents out there that think you can tell your grandkids that you're going to give them some money, and then they'll forget it by the time you see them, they're going to cash out you. So, all right. Hey, come back. Come back on
That's
the other side. We'll switch to a little football conversation here about spring practice. Glad you all have chosen to be with us. Like I said, that's probably my one baseball conversation for the year. But I did think that the fact that they interview people in the middle of a game shows that baseball is desperate. The announcers were talking to the players during the game between pitches. It shows you just how much downtime exists in that game, and they're trying to fix that. So hopefully they'll fix it and save baseball. Lots of people love baseball. I love it. Love watching in person and my grandson play. So who knows? Come back on the other side. We're going to talk about what matters most to you, and that is a little spring football at Alabama and a little Bama hoops. Stay tuned for more of that conversation right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier with DC Capstone reporting in today.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks, everything pretty quiet on the roadways. But if you do see conditions folks need to hear about, just give me a call. 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan is paying top dollar for your current car, truck, or SUV because values are at an all-time high. The Save-a-thon is underway and BJ's making deals. Go see him. I'm Captain Ray.
The Tuscaloosa Mayor's Cup 5K for pre-K will be April 29th at 8 a.m. in downtown Tuscaloosa. For more information or to register, go to TuscaloosaMayorsCup.com. That's www.TuscaloosaMayorsCup.com.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español.
Gracias, Babbel.
Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Weather brought to you by Tidwell Chiropractic, the only third-generation chiropractor with over 26 years experience in Tuscaloosa. Call Tidwell Chiropractic at 752-2503.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A nice warm up today with a sunny sky, the high 75. Clear tonight, the low 46. For tomorrow, a sunny day, the high 77. And for Thursday, the sky becoming cloudy, a good chance of rain by afternoon, the high Thursday 72. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 46 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sophmarkdesign.com.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
DC, you got any thoughts you've had from spring football so far? Any recent news you've learned while we get Martin disconnected and reconnected?
Yeah, sure. Hey, now, I'm sorry, I didn't hear Martin. I could hear something, but I couldn't hear anybody talking. Yeah, I've had a lot of reports from sources that I have has been at scrimmages and practices, and love to share some of that if we got go ahead and do that while Martin's getting reconnected. But this last scrimmage, there was several reports of how great the offense looked. But a couple of things I wanted to discuss was Justice Haynes, really running back, and looks really the part. Could be the second running back to get the ball, could be the first running back to get the ball when we come out for the season this year. Just showed up in shape, showed up knowing the playbook. He's just soaking up everything and has really improved in his carrying the ball. Coach Saban kind of gushed over the four running backs. They've got in the room and how good they're doing, and so you got Jace McClellan, Roydell Williams, John Miller, and Justice Haynes. And he said that if everybody stays healthy, this will never be this won't be a problem for the team this year. It'll be one of their strengths. And don't forget, you got Richard Young coming in this summer as well, another 5-star running back. So I think our running back room is really good. And I think in this scrimmage, there were some explosive plays made by a running back. One thing that Justice Haynes has impressed the coaches with is catching the ball out of the backfield. Also, his blocking ability has been well. So I think Tommy Reese has a plan that includes Justice Haynes in the backfield, especially when he's in there catching the ball. A lot of quickness, a lot of route running, a lot of things that freshman running backs just don't usually have when they come in. But you can tell with his pedigree that he is lived, eat, and breathed football growing up, and really have a head for the game as well. Another thing that came out of what I was told was it looked for sometimes and maybe multiple times this year to have 2 or 3 tight ends on the field at the same time with a agenda to run the ball, but also an agenda to throw the ball. It looks like they're using the new transfer Dupree tight end is one of the bigger tight ends that can actually catch the ball and run. And then Amari Niblack on the opposite side, who can really be a mismatch against some of the linebackers. So you get both of them out in the field catching passes. Really takes an advantage of some defenses, especially some of the defenses that the SEC plays right now, because so many teams are not using tight ends. So look for Tommy Reese to exploit that this year, and even sometimes having 3 tight ends on the field at the same time, with Robbie Oots playing that fullback hybrid H-back type thing. But one of the things that impressed was in the goal line scrimmages, opportunities to run the ball. Our offensive line and our backs really did a good job of the offensive line opened up holes, and the backs hitting those holes. Now, I know people will say, well, our offense looks so good, but remember, our defense is down a lot of people, and a lot of young people are getting reps in this. And remember, Craig McKinstry was also not in this due to a family issue. He was with his family and was not able to be in the scrimmage. So the quarterbacks had a great day, too. Everybody wants to know about the quarterbacks. Really no separation. Everybody I talked to coming out of the scrimmage said that both quarterbacks managed the game well, did a great job with their throws, had explosive plays, no interceptions, no mistakes. So the only mistakes that people that I talked to that were at the scrimmage was there was a lot of yelling and getting on to the team about some pre-snap penalties. So I think they'll be working on that between now and the next scrimmage. And I wouldn't be surprised to have the defense kind of step up Saturday in this next scrimmage to do a little bit better, because the offense really turned it on, and you could tell the defensive coaches were getting on the defensive play.
What are your opinions about the offensive line as well, DC, as far as how that's shaping up, and what have you heard about that starting 5 or a rotational guy as well?
Yeah, I think the offensive line. What I heard back from my sources was, that one of the amazing things and one of the surprising things is Elijah Pritchett has done such a great job of holding down that left tackle position. So you got Pritchett left tackle, you got J.C. Latham at right tackle, And then you got Seth McLaughlin, Darren Davenport, kind of being used as center, but also Davenport moving out to one of the guards along with Tyler Booker as the other guard. But then you got one of the young tackles that are young freshman tackles. It's really going to be hard to keep them off the field. And if you can't keep them off the field at the tackle position with J.C. Latham, then looks like he may be pushed in there to come at maybe that right guard position. Move Tyler Booker to the left guard so that you have Elijah Pritchett, Tyler Booker, Seth McLaughlin, and then J.C. Latham with Darren Davenport and a couple of the freshmen kind of taking turns at that right tackle position. So really looked good. I tell you, from the people that I talked to, they were most impressed with the offensive line, the running backs in this scrimmage. And when I listened to some of the running backs talk yesterday, especially Roydell Williams, he was so excited about the offensive line. I mean, and I know Martin can speak to this, but when you got an offensive line that's opening holes for you, you're excited as a running back. And I think I hadn't seen that kind of excitement from the running backs or talking about the offensive line in a couple of years. So I think this is a much improved offensive line.
And we'll take a break here and come back and keep that conversation going, guys. And during the break, just think about this. The O-line, of course, being impressive. How much better and improved is this O-line versus the fact that we're utilizing our strength and calling it to allow them to play the style that they play best. But I've heard several people say, well, our offense looks good because our defensive, is down. I want somebody to tell me how many defensive players are down, and if that's the case, does that give you a little concern if those players not being there makes our offense look that much more impressive? Or is this just the typical, I don't want the offense to get too hyped, managing of expectations from the Saban side of the world? And then last but not least, is Dalcourt, let me see, Curtis said something about Dalcourt before. Dalcourt is this year's project baby, like Bolton McMillan and that horrible tackle we had last year. Is Dalcourt, my thoughts is Dalcourt the guy that Saban is managing to keep out of the portal, and will Proctor, I think Proctor's going to be Booker from last year at worst case, meaning that he may rotate in some, but I don't think he rotates at a tackle. I think he rotates at a guard, or he ends up winning one of those tackle positions, and Pritchett is a guy that does it. I think Dalcourt might potentially could be a placeholder, or he may, who knows, he may fall back into that center position with Wolford and the ability to just go ahead and run block and not have to do so much thinking and RPOs. But I definitely think that he is a potential placeholder. So we'll talk about that. Get your thoughts on, is this Saban managing expectations? Who's out on the defense? It makes everybody keep saying our defense is way down. We'll talk about it right here next.
This is a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update.
I'm Kim Rankin with your Tide Sports Update. The Alabama softball team ranked number 15 in this week's D1 softball rankings. Alabama and Creighton have scheduled a home-and-home series. Barry Sanderson has been named the next basketball head coach at Northridge High School.
This has been a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update. Run it again! For more info on these stories and more, download the Tide 100.9 app.
Tide 100.9 Traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks, everything pretty quiet on the roadways. But if you do see conditions folks need to hear about, just give me a call. 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan is paying top dollar for your current car, truck, or SUV because values are at an all-time high. The Save-a-thon is underway and BJ's making deals. Go see him. I'm Captain Ray.
Years ago, Jimmy Rain decided that the best way to advertise Great Southern Wood was through coaches. Gene Stallings, Pat Dye, Steve Spurrier, and myself, and many more coaches took to the radio and TV airwaves to tell people that if you're building outdoors, the only way to build is with pressure-treated pine, yellow wood. It is the very, very best. Why? Because all the coaches said yellow wood, pressure-treated pine, protects against bug, termite, and weather. Decking, fencing, play sets, whatever you're wanting to build, just go to the internet, look at Yellowwood, and you will find these coaches advertised a great product. If it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, believe you me, you don't want it. It's Yellowwood.
Hi, I'm Marty Lyons. When I come to Taco Casa, I always order the 2 and 2. 2 Sanchos, 2 enchiladas.
And I'm Wilkin Forby. And when I come to Taco Casa, I always order the Fantastic Four. 4 Sanchos, 4 enchiladas, 4 tacos, and 4 burritos.
Taco Casa is always made with the finest ingredients and made fresh when you order. So whatever the size of your appetite,
there's always something delicious waiting for you here at Taco Casa.
Taco Casa, under the biggest cactus in town.
Only 1 week left to file your taxes. But don't worry, Jackson Hewitt is racking up the assists. We guarantee your biggest tax refund and guarantee the accuracy of your return for life. So make a fast break to Jackson Hewitt. Our tax pros will get you filed or get you an extension before the deadline. Beat the clock and the crowds. Come in and file today. When every dollar matters, it matters who does your taxes.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Martin Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports. We have DC Capstone report in with us this morning. X had to step away, but we'll keep things going. We have room for you to get in on the conversation. 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. Speaking of Alabama One, go to check out our website to find out all the great promotions we have going on right now. A couple different ways to win. You can win a big green egg by getting a recreational small equipment loan, whether it's for commercial or ag equipment, or you get one of those toys for the spring. You can register to win a big green egg, giving away 12 of those in total. So go ahead and get your name on the list. Also, we got a great credit card promotion going on where if you get a new credit card, you get entered to win up to $500. If you have a credit card or you get that new credit card, you start swiping to win. Every swipe gets an entry, giving away $500. That's $2,500 a month or a big green egg based on your activity, your choice. That's Alabama One. We're making you a winner. Go check us out at alabama1.org or One Together. What's your one? All right, DC, we were going to break there, just set up a couple of topics to get to. Deontay Lawson's out. Dallas Turner's out. Who else is out on that defense?
You got Chris Braswell's been nicked up a little bit, but Kool-Aid McKinstry was out in this scrimmage. That's what opened up a lot of the passing. So I think Justin Aborgbe's been limited because of his only third downs, so he hasn't been able to play on the line. I think that's major defensive players that he's out. And I agree with you. I think a lot of that's a little smoke screen by Coach Saban, so that the offense doesn't get the big hit or a lot of expectations from the fans. But yeah, there are some people out, significant numbers of at least people who bring an intensity to the team and a leadership to the team. A lot of people that play and still athletic. We got a lot of 5-stars playing in those positions.
Yeah,
right now.
And that's why I say that I think some of it's smoke screen by Saban and the offense to keep them tempered and hungry. But at the same time, Deontay Lawson being out has to be huge when it comes to effective of the run game. Curtis Lewis said, inside linebacker is crucial. and without Lawson, the defense will look lacking. A little bit up the middle. But I think if you have a guy like Lawson and Turner out, DC, I think in the spring it actually pays dividends because it's giving guys a chance to step up. And one of those guys who appears to be stepping up is Marshall from Georgia. They've talked a little bit. I've heard some good stuff about him in terms of the way he plays the game with some physicality and just learning the playbook. But he's doing good. So that's going to be interesting to see. But also Murphy, Campbell, and I guess I'm waiting on Pat to call me and tell me how much Jefferson's speed is helping us stop the run up the middle. But anyway, your thoughts on the.
Yeah, I think another player, Kendrick Blackshire, has really benefited too. He's gotten a lot of playing time. He's knows the system well. I think he's really benefited from it as well.
What any overall thoughts as far as inside linebacker play from what you're hearing?
Yeah, I think it's going to, like you said, the Tresman Marshall, Justin Jefferson, and it's going to be Kendrick Blackshire getting all this type of playing time during the spring is going to be a big asset to us come time when Deontay Lawson is back on the field. So I think it's going. I think overall, I think it's going to be a good thing for us down the road. I'm
When
sorry, I
Lawson
can hear you, Mark.
back, who's the other linebacker?
Probably Tresman Marshall or Kendrick Blackshire.
You see, I've heard more stuff about Murphy. I heard a lot of good stuff about Murphy and Campbell last year, and that's why this speaks to my disappointment in the way we, develop players. DC, those young guys came in. Campbell moved from outside linebacker to inside linebacker, and I thought he may move back out this year, but it appears that that's not going to be the case, at least at this point. But those guys, think about how few reps they got last year with some of the games where we could have got more defensive reps. Because everybody's talking about the quarterback play and not having experience. I think we had the same thing on the defensive side of the ball. I think we played and missed a great opportunity to get some of those guys some real live rounds.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to play on defense this year with a lot of players who don't have a lot of experience, especially in the secondary. I mean, we're going to in the safety position. We're going to at least plug and play either a freshman or a redshirt freshman, possibly back there. So, yeah, I don't think we did a good job last year getting people in to give them some reps.
What I do is we have some young coaches and our young inside linebacker coach. You know why I like guys like that, DC, that come from the small schools? You know what they're used to doing? They're used to developing talent because they can't go out and get a 5-star that just knows how to play. They're used to really coaching.
Used to coaching players, their abilities. I said they're used to coaching players where they are and bringing them up to the level they need them at instead of bringing them in at 5 stars.
And I think that's going to be huge. I also think that we haven't talked much about it, DC, but the move on defense from Steele, where Steele's just coaching, and this is not to retro make an excuse for Pete Golding, but think about how fast the offenses are going now. And now when something happens, Kevin Steele's going to be able to be focused on what's the next defense, and then the inside linebacker coach is going to be able to coach his position. The outside line, you see what I'm saying? Like the defensive coordinator isn't going to have to be trying to correct the player and think about what's the next play. And I think that's going to be huge dividends for this defense. So not only do I think Steele knows the system, but also think Saban has made another brilliant move.
I agree 100%. I think that's one of the best moves he made. just taking that off the defensive coordinator and putting it on a middle linebacker coach, and I just really believe that's going to pay dividends. Another move I think that he's made that I have heard has really made a difference in the secondary is making Tavarius Robertson the entire secondary. You know, he has had some experience as a coordinator before, and it seems like his administrative abilities have really helped translate the message of how to play, what to play, technique, and things. Every person I've spoken with has said that the secondary players have bought into it much more. And I don't know why that is. It's not knocking on Charles Kelly. It's just maybe the way the communication is made, maybe relatability. I don't know what it is.
Well, what I think it is, DC, is have you ever said something to someone and then they said it to someone, and then when you talk to that person, it's a little different?
Yeah.
And so Saban's.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Do what now?
I said, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And
it makes it's translating it to the players. The players are getting it now from the right person. From the one person.
Not just the right person. The cornerbacks and the safeties hear how many voices now? One.
Yeah.
So
voice, and they know what they're supposed to do. When you listen to the players talk, like Terrion Arnold and Malachi Moore, Kool-Aid McKinstry, across the board, they're saying things like communication. I know I've worked. What have I improved on? I've improved on my communication. I've improved on, and what I think they mean by that is understanding of how the defense works, where the other person's supposed to be, where am I supposed to be, and I think that's a big deal based on, like you said, the one.
Yeah,
voice.
and not just that, DC, not just the fact that he's communicating it better. Only one person is communicating. Like if I tell the DBs something that Saban said, the cornerbacks, and you tell the safeties what Saban said, we may emphasize different piece parts. But those 4, 5, 6 have to be one, right? Now you have one voice,
right.
And so the emphasis and the continuity to me goes up. To me, more if you have one guy coaching all of the defensive backs, because when he's emphasizing, hey, when that guy goes across the field, you have to do this or step up or whatever, then the cornerback is hearing the same thing versus
right.
one saying, yes, step up, but, and I don't think it's necessarily a confusion. I mean, a disagreement thing. I just think it is, you have one person hearing it from Saban, and then, or from Steele, you cut down on the communication gaps. It to me is huge. It is, it's going to be an interesting time. I think you'll see better play from the defensive backs. We'll come back on the other side, wrap things up. DC, let you give any closing thoughts from spring, and then ask you a few questions regarding what's happening on the hardwood. You listen to the Martin Houston Show with DC Capstone Report. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned for more of the conversation.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks, everything pretty quiet on the roadways. But if you do see conditions folks need to hear about, just give me a call. 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan is paying top dollar for your current car, truck, or SUV because values are at an all-time high. The Save-a-thon is underway and BJ's making deals. Go see him. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Tuesday morning. The perpetrator in yesterday's mass shooting at the Old National Bank in Louisville, Kentucky, has been identified as a person with Tuscaloosa ties. Interim Louisville Police Chief Jacqueline Gwen Villarreal identified him as 25-year-old Connor Sturgeon, an employee at the bank who had been promoted just a year ago, but had just learned that he was going to be fired. Sturgeon received both his bachelor's and master's degree at the University of Alabama. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
Are you ready for the best chocolate experience West Alabama has to offer? Get your tickets now for Tuscaloosa's Death by Chocolate, coming up Thursday, April 20th at the Tuscaloosa River Market. Doors open at 5:30, and you get to taste and judge some of the most creative chocolate delights from some of your favorite restaurants and chefs from the Tuscaloosa area. Tickets are available in advance for $30 each at counselingservice.org/DBC, or may be purchased at the door for $35. Proceeds benefit Family Counseling Service of West Alabama.
The Tuscaloosa Mayor's Cup 5K for pre-K will be April 29th at 8 a.m. in downtown Tuscaloosa. For more information or to register, go to TuscaloosaMayorsCup.com. That's www.TuscaloosaMayorsCup.com. Tuscaloosa Locksmith sells key remotes, remote fobs, smart keys, car remotes, and Black Rifle coffee. They also do laser engraving. Tuscaloosa Locksmith, just off 15th Street behind the fire station.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back again to the Martin Houston Show with Mark Xavier. DC Capstone report on with us this morning. DC, let us know about your sponsor, sir.
Yeah, well, you can find me on DCCapstoneReport.com, DC Capstone Report Facebook page, and always check out Lance Shore's other sites for OldTideBama.com and FreelancePictures.com. And our podcast this year has picked up a new sponsor. Our new sponsor is Karen Cottingham. She's a realtor with Keller Williams, the Williams Group here in Tuscaloosa. And you can check out Karen at 205-887-4008. You can give her a call for all your real estate needs. She's going to be our new sponsor on the podcast this year. So podcast will be up soon and talking about our A-Day experience and A-Day games. So you can check us out on our social media platforms. You can also follow me on Twitter at DavidCott50.
All right. Aaron Cottingham of Keller Williams Group, 205-887-4008, helping you with all of your real estate needs based out of Tuscaloosa, but serving you statewide. That's Karen Cottingham. You can shoot an email at Karen Cottingham, Cotting, ham, at kw.com, or go to kw.com and look Karen Cottingham up. All right. Glad to have her part of the show, part of the podcast, part of what we do. And thank Lance for all his support. DC, closing thoughts on scrimmage and then your quick thoughts on basketball.
Well, two things on scrimmage I think that was jumped out at me. One is Terrion Arnold's talking about afterwards. The improvements he's seen in the defensive backfield is just exactly what you're talking about. He used the word unit, playing as a unit as the difference this year. I think last year they were in silos, safeties and corners and stars. This year they're in units. The other is Elijah Pritchett. Don't sleep on Elijah Pritchett thinking that he won't hold down that left tackle position. A lot of folks are surprised by that, but I go back to the Kansas State bowl game when Tyler Steen went down with a nicked up injury. It was Elijah Pritchett who was the first off the bench to come in at left tackle and played 3 snaps, had a knockdown block. So I look for him to nail down that left tackle spot. And that's my observations coming out of scrimmage so far.
All right. Ball concern. We the new Auburn. What's going on there?
No, I don't think so. I think with the transfer portal and if things we got going on right now, I think Alabama is going to be able to sustain. I look for another trip back to the NCAA with even a Sweet 16 appearance or further this coming year. I just have a feeling that what Coach is doing already, going after this first coach, young coach coming in. He has a chance to build and get some coaches around him with some good recruiters and good offense, good defensive play. So I think we've proven where we are. I think we'll be able to continue that with recruiting and
all right.
portal.
Be harder to coaches or losing 3 coaches, the head coaching job, which I don't think it has ever happened at a D1 program, or the players.
Well, I think it's going to be hard to replace the coaches, but I think we can do it. The players, I think, will be able to want to come play in this type of offense. Well, after seeing us play this year, I think that we'll be able to get the players based on recruiting and based on the transfer.
All right. Let me know what else you got. Let them one more time know where they can find you, sir.
Well, you can find me at DCCapstoneReport.com, DC Capstone Report Facebook page, and follow me on Twitter at DavidCott50. Something happened, I think, recently that's going to be big for our Tuscaloosa basketball, and that's Barry Sanderson going to Northridge. I look for him to build. He has a great track record with TA. Look for him to build that Northridge team up to be competing for a state title. So I think that's big for Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, kudos to host. They come on right after us. That's Tighter Insider, Barry Sanderson, the new head coach at Northridge basketball. Northridge has always had a lot of talent, just haven't been able to get over the humps. Sort of sounds like Alabama. We'll give him a shout out. Stay tuned here, and he and Wimp will be up next in Inside the Locker Room. Hey, that's David, DC Capstone Report. I'm Martin Houston. X is gone. Aiden's pushing all the right buttons. We'll be back tomorrow for the same great programming. Appreciate all my callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters for being a part of the program. Remember this: trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. Roll Tide out there, everybody. Have a blessed day.
Thanks for having me on, Martin. Roll Tide.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Everything pretty quiet on the roadways.